We almost have it. We almost have it.
Objectively, the best Call of Duty zombie is Master and Tony.
Oh my god. Don't stop.
Pure hate has come out of my mouth while I've played this map.
Man, we're about to get fucking Dr. Monty again
In the
terms of things.
episode. Ladies and gentlemen, zombie lovers alike, welcome back to the Round Base Radio Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things zombie talk. I'm your host, Fox, joined by my co-host, Dalton. Today, it is just the two of us on this very special bonus episode. If you guys remember, I said that we would be uploading 2 podcast episodes this week, and today is just me and Dalton talking all things Infinite Warfare. Dalton, before we get started, how are you doing today, my man?
Absolutely amazing, considering I'm talking about IW especially.
Yeah, man, IW's that's your favorite. I don't know if it's your favorite. I know you kind of teeter-totters between Black Ops 3 and IW, but it's definitely like your favorite map of all time is in that game.
Oh, 100%.
And what is that for the viewers out there that don't know?
Oh, it's Zombies in Spaceland.
Well, I don't doubt it. That's a good map. We've been playing it a lot on stream the last few weeks. I'm trying to beat the Easter egg together. You've beaten it solo a couple times. I know you're kind of going through and beating all the other ones on PC to get the super Easter egg, to get the super boss fight. How's that been going so far?
Pretty good, man. As of now, I'm on Challenge Shuffle. I'm taking it slow, and also just going back, replaying some maps as well. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I only got 3 more maps left, and then it's director's cut time, and then guess what? We get to do it all over again.
That's sick. It's a cool, unique concept. I like it a lot. It a lot.
Like to me, it's just better than getting the RK5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and some calling cards. I mean, that's one thing that I think that after Infinite Warfare, I think Super Easter egg should have been fucking phenomenal after that. But I don't think we've really gotten anything crazy like that since IW. If I'm correct, I could be wrong. Maybe Black Ops 4 had a cut one. So yeah, no, we really haven't had something as cool as Director's Cut and the I don't even want to try and pronounce it, boss fight. I know that's
Mephistopheles.
Yes, there you go. I can't. That's I'd mess it up. Well, for this week's episode, this is round 12. For all those who are watching, welcome in. We are going to be talking, like I said, all things IW today. I've just got some questions lined up for Dalton since he is the IW expert out of the 3 of us, and he has the most experience and the most knowledge compared to me and Drew, obviously. So I'm just going to ask him some questions and kind of talk about IW for a little bit, show its appreciation, because it's definitely a underrated experience. Definitely deserves a lot more love. So Dalton, to really start off, every zombies experience is very different from each other, right? Whether it's Black Ops 1 to Black Ops 2, War to Black Ops 3, there's a lot of differences, whether it's minor or they're just larger differences, right? So I want to know, in your opinion, what's something that separates IW from all of the other Treyarch experiences, as well as, some Vanguard, I say Vanguard, but Sledgehammer experiences as well?
So I think the biggest thing with IW is it feels like its own thing. You know what I mean? Granted, BO3 and BO4 feel like their own thing, but there's tons of similarities. If you're just talking about straight mechanic wise, I would say the biggest thing is it feels a little more stiff than BO3 was the year previous, mechanic wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like what really separates it from any other game, just period, is the vibe that it brings. I know you don't like that word, but
I just like saying it.
The atmosphere, of every single map, what you're there to do. You have 2 super easy Easter eggs. I don't want to say super easy, but you have pretty easy Easter egg quest, I'll say. Easter egg quest maps to start off in Zombies in Spaceland and Raven the Redwoods, where Zombies in Spaceland, you just got to build the Steadicom, 3 defenses, boss fight. And then Raven the Redwoods, you do 3 rituals, boss fight. And then you start getting into Shall and Shuffle, Attack of the Radioactive Thing, and Beast from Beyond. And I feel like it does a good job where all those maps use every single aspect of an Easter egg that you can, where it's using a tactical grenade to throw it into a tree to get a leg out because you're building a zombie corpse. You have to build a trap to get the zombie arm out of the beach of Attack of the Radioactive Thing and stuff. And Shall and Shuffle, like we have the coded rat that just shakes back and forth. But I mean, like, there's steps that take time, and I feel like in these Easter eggs, it's not so much of like a like when I play an Infinite Warfare Easter egg, it's like I'm pretty relaxed. Anytime I play like a Treyarch Easter egg, I get like a freaking hole in my stomach, dude. I'm like, oh my god, like it's very, I don't want to say like anxiety ridden, but it's like it's a lot more tense. But when I play IW, it's just like, man, we're just chilling. Like we're in a super cool movie. You get like voice quotes, and you have the celebrities as well. It's just a very fun, like nice experience in IW versus what I would say in like BO3. It's a lot more high strung in the Treyarch games. And then I feel like in Sledgehammer's experience of like World War II, they really pushed like the scariness aspect, and then that lacked a bunch of other stuff, which made it kind of bad. But I feel like IW just hit on every single point, because like I was talking about mechanics, it's a little stiffer than BO3, but I don't think it plays awful. There are some like killer things that can kill a bunch of runs in this game that I don't personally like, but like once you know, you can do your best to try and avoid those situations and not get yourself in a shit stain. That makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I definitely see where you're coming from. As like I've played every single map, but granted, this was a long time ago. The most recent ones I've played have been Zombies in Space and a little bit of Rave. We played a little bit of Rave.
Oh yeah, we did play.
And I can agree with you on that. Like I can definitely see where you're coming from. Like when I remember seeing those outro cutscenes or even the intro cutscenes, I always thought of like a cartoon. I always thought I like the first thing that comes into my head is like, I don't know why, but Scooby-Doo. So I get what you're coming at with like the whole like relaxed, it's chill, it's funny, it's entertaining, where I would consider, you know, the Treyarch side of Zombies, you know, the Aether story and all that, a little bit more serious, even though they have those little funny jokes in there here and there, at least in the older games. So this is definitely a more kick-back, relaxed, fun experience in terms of the story and the aesthetic, you know, jumping between different movie sets, time periods, you know, especially the characters pretty much changing roles every time, I think is hilarious. Like how in Spaceland, we have Poindexter goes from a nerd to the next movie, he's like this hip-hop kid at a rave party. You know what I mean? I think that's, I think they, Lee Ross, if that's his name correct, I'm not messing that up.
Yep.
He did a phenomenal job.
Fabulous hair.
Yeah, fabulous hair. He did a phenomenal job on doing that, like where every map felt unique, which is the biggest problem I have with current Zombies, is where I don't feel like maps are very separated from each other. They seem very cut dry, very much the same cookie cutter, right? So I'd agree with you on that. I think the vibe, the aesthetic is amazing. That's one thing that drew me to it when we first played it. Like I wasn't coming off the hype of BO3 was tough, right? Lee Ross had big shoes to fill. That is really hard, especially Zombie Chronicles. But I think with what it was, I think he did a really good job of like, because it is like the gameplay is the same in some cases, with the Fate and Fortune cards being like gobblegums with obviously a slight different variations, and you know the creator class system and stuff like that. Like it felt familiar, but it felt just so different at the same time, and new and fresh. And I wish we kind of, I wish more came from it. You know, I mean, I wish like we got more after IW. I think that's one thing that I think a lot of us wish, but unfortunately, I don't think Lee Ross is coming back anytime soon. He did a phenomenal job though for what he had. First off, especially with Infinite Warfare mechanics, you were saying that the game felt very. I don't like what like you didn't use the word slow.
Stiff.
You said stiff, and that's just the IW mechanics. They were a little bit slower than Black Ops 3 mechanics. I think everything else, yeah, I agree with you. It felt very nice, and I think it was a really good, especially playing it for the first time. I liked it, especially going back recently with you to try and play these maps and beat them. I mean, not many maps out there I want to go and try and beat the Easter egg on all the time. You know what I mean? But as of recently, I've had a big passion of beating this game, trying to catch up to you and join you and try and beat these games. You know what I mean? Or these maps. So, okay, all right, it's a pretty good start. Pretty good start so far, guys. So with that being said, my next question for you is obviously a lot of good and a lot of bad things can come from experiences, right? I mean, Black Ops 3's got this fair share of bad things and good things, and so does IW and every other experience we've had in our lifetime, right? What is the one thing that you think can be taken away from this game? Like that's just like that they just hit the nail on. You know what I mean? I know we talked about, like what separates it from the game from other games, but what is one thing that just that Lee Ross and every other person working on that game just like clean hit of the nail, like perfect. Like they this is how it should be type situation. You know what I mean?
Man. I got like 5 though.
If you got 5, hey, we got time. We got time.
So what I'll say first and foremost, just to get it out of the way, Super Easter egg, phenomenal. Drew was talking about it a couple episodes ago, last episode, I can't remember, where, the best Super Easter egg would be to unlock a mode where it either makes it harder or easier or whatever, but then you have to go back, replay through all the maps, but then you get a reward where, in IW's case, it's the Mephistopheles boss fight or whatever, but it keeps you kind of going for something. I feel like that Super Easter egg is perfect. And then also having, excuse me, I just had a burp, having Director's Cut, being able to go back to these maps in Director's Cut and play, not to say it's easier, but like if you ever just I really enjoy these maps. So instead of sweating my ass off trying to do this Zombies in Spaceland boss fight at round, 11 or 12, I can hop in on Director's Cut, have the whole map open. If I get lucky, have a wonder weapon, and like maybe be in the boss fight by round 6 without like sweating at all. You know what I mean? Like I have everything at my disposal to like fully enjoy the map, because I've beaten all the maps to the game. You know what I mean? Like, don't give us a mode where, everything's available and it's just easy peasy all the time. Like, make us have to work for it. Second, have to be boss battles. I think that's so sick where it's like, you know what? Like, I really enjoy this boss fight, or like, I'm trying to it's like, I can do this Easter egg until the boss fight. You can hop in boss battles, have these same exact, loadout that you are planning to bring in and practice. And instead of having to waste, I would say honestly, you could probably get to boss fight in a lot of these maps like hour to an hour 30. And instead of having to waste that hour 30 of doing a full-fledged Easter egg, because when getting to Shaolin, Attack, and then Beast from Beyond, that's when the Easter eggs start getting, I don't even want to say tedious, but that's when they start getting very step heavy of just little stuff you have to do. Where it's like Shaolin Shuffle, it follows the same kind of thing as like Rave or Spaceland, where there's 3 kind of steps you have to go through, but there's also 3 mini steps you have to do during those steps, where it's like the first for Shaolin is, oh shit, what is it? God almighty.
You're just playing this.
And this is the map I'm on. What is it? Before the first Rat King, and then you get your eyeball. You got to use the eyeball, look for the symbols, do the roof cipher, and then you have the second rat, and then you go through another 3-step challenges. But so we got boss battles. 3, would probably, no doubt, have to be the perk system. Absolutely love it. You can change your play style midway through. Where, like, let's say you want to swap your Kindles out, and then you end up getting a LMG or something. You could swap bomb stoppers out for racing stripes. Just the versatility that you can do, or if you know you're going to need bomb stoppers until round 10, you can remove it and then go grab another perk. I think that's awesome. What else? I really liked I don't know how. I'm trying to think of the word for it. Like when you kill a zombie and they drop shit,
Mm-hmm.
not like a power up, but like the shit they drop.
The loot drops and stuff.
Yeah, I think they did a perfect job with that. Where I wish we would have seen more stuff like Spaceland, where each map had its own separate form of currency, almost like salvage, but like in Zombies in Spaceland, you could go and use your tickets from the arcade to go get a max ammo for a gun if you needed, or cryo-freeze grenades. So I wish every map had something like that, but I think they also hit the nail on traps, like the buildable traps that you can do, which they started to shy away from at the end there, I'm pretty sure. But other than that, I think that's it. Atmosphere. But I mean, we've already talked about that. But those are like the big things that I really enjoy hopping on this game every single time because of these things.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. Like with everything that you said. I do agree. I think it would have been cool if we saw a different currency in the game, like for each map. Maybe if it time period in some sort of way, or But I mean, they did though. I mean, they did do a great job with making again every map feeling unique, which I think was phenomenal at the same time. How you said boss fights. Boss fights are cool. Again, very centric to the theme of the map. Zombies in Spaceland, you fight a fucking alien. Raven the Redwoods, you fight a serial killer in the Redwoods. You know what I mean? I think that was really cool. I like that a lot, especially like a lot of the backstory behind it. Yep. Shaolin Shuffle. You fight the Rat King. That gives me very much TMNT vibes. You know what I mean? Really cool setting as well in New York City, and then you have Beast from Beyond, but Attack Radioactive Thane. I think that boss fight is really fucking cool. It is hard. We have failed that boss fight before back in high school. We played it back in 2016, 2017. But that boss fight was really cool. And I love the concept, how the boss is just kind of out there, just wreaking havoc, just standing there, sometimes. And, you're going to fight him, but you get to see him so early on. And you're just like, oh my God, like this is going to be cool. Obviously, the Easter egg steps are a little tedious for some. And, the boss fight, again, is a difficult boss fight. But it is a very cool boss fight on this own, and we're not going to talk about Beast from Beyond because I know too much about that, unfortunately. But
yeah,
again,
that could use its own podcast episode, Beast from Beyond.
Just a hate train. Everybody get on the hate train. We're about to talk about Beast from Beyond for a good few minutes. And then the super Easter egg. Yes, I agree with that. The super Easter egg was. Like when I heard of that, I was like, "Oh, that's actually kind of cool." Like that's like the whole director's cut, and being able to go into those boss fight modes too, like you said, like where you can practice and you could kind of like game plan, like, okay, how would I do this, and get good at it, and then go do the Easter egg steps, do the actual boss fight, and get it right. One thing I haven't heard you talk about yet, and I'm kind of surprised, is the cheat codes for the playable characters in the map.
Oh, well, yeah. I was going to say I think
that's like one of those little things that's like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like that's like it's not like game breaking, but it's like,
no.
Oh, okay, so there's a little bit more of a, not purpose, but you know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say that's your reward for beating the Easter egg like the first time, like for that map. is you
Okay.
get the playable character. I will say they didn't have one from Beast from Beyond, but it was definitely cut short because of the Mephistopheles boss fight, because I've still yet to do it to this day, and I'm petrified. I know the first time I step foot in that arena, I'm going to die, and I'm going to have to play Beast from Beyond again to get to that boss fight.
That's the biggest boss fight. Beast from Beyond, and then the boss fight, the actual one.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I could just go on and on. I was thinking of one other reason that it was so good. It'll come back to me. But yeah, I mean, I think they hit a bunch of stuff good on the nail, man. Like I said, perks, super Easter eggs. What is it? Oh, the one thing I was gonna say, I think how they did double Pack-a-Punch, I like. They did it 2-ish, 3-ish different ways, I guess you could say. So in Zombies in Spaceland, you had to fully complete the Easter egg to obtain the double Pack-a-Punch fuses.
Mm-hmm.
And you put them in the thing, the projector, and then it's double packed. In Raven the Redwoods, I'm pretty sure you can't get them unless you beat the Zombies in Spaceland boss fight.
Okay.
But there is a quest to get them. And then in Shall and Shuffle and Beyond, I don't know about Beast from Beyond, but Shall and Shuffle and Ford, at least with Attack of the Radioactive Thing and Shallon, you can just unlock double Pack-a-Punch. There's like a mini little quest for it, if that makes sense. Like you have to Attack of the Radioactive Thing. You have to go in to an RV, melee a certain cabinet, and it opens, and you can grab them. And then in Shaolin, you have to open certain doors with the Kung Fu. You press a button in the Pack-a-Punch room, run out, go through a series of doors, teleporters, and then they're in a box that stays open for like 15 seconds, so you have to make it there in time and then grab them, and then charge them on the train tracks and then install them. But I think like stuff like that, like everything kind of had a purpose, if that makes sense. I don't know. It was just an enjoyable game, man. I've had a smile on my face this whole episode.
I can hear it. I can hear it in you. I think another thing that I liked about the game was, going back to the celebrity cast, was like, not only did we have a celebrity cast technically for the playable characters, with like one being Seth Green and all that. I think just the inclusion of a individual celebrity from that time period was also a great idea. It also added some depth to the map to see like another actor kind of trapped into this chaos that Willard Wyler, and we'll get into Willard Wyler. I want to talk about him a little bit too, being like the main antagonist pretty much to a certain extent. I think it was also great. I think they chose some of the people perfectly. I think, for a lot of these. Well, I wish we technically had one from Beast from Beyond. I think that would have been pretty cool. I don't know who they could have done. Sure, you could think of somebody, you know what I mean, to come and done that. But yeah, no, okay, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. I got my little trusty notepad. So we talked about like what was one of the better things that the game has done. What's a negative you can give to this game that you think could have been improved upon that would elevate this game even further? You know what I mean?
The main thing that I've been finding, especially playing now, and I know you've experienced it, I have it on stream where I've experienced it. So zombies can spawn from damn near anywhere in this game.
Mm-hmm.
When they are spawning, like jumping through a window, they're like animation, how it's coded. Like, you know how think about this in like a graphical standpoint. The zombie has like a box around it. Mm-hmm. And so if you hit that box, it's technically like you're hitting their body, but you're nowhere close. And while they hop through windows or over ledges or coming out of the ground, you can just get flown back because it's like you're hitting something.
Yeah, and that's happened to me. I don't. That mm-hmm. is that's what that's what caused me to go down.
Yeah,
in that boss fight with you.
I was gonna say that's a big thing for me that I really don't like. Um, we talked about it where like you can, if you're using the Kindles, you shoot a zombie. Sometimes they won't fucking die.
Mm-hmm.
It sometimes that bothers me, but I feel like once you know that's gonna happen, you can kind of work around it. So I wouldn't put it up there for me. I feel like it's just I don't want to say gameplay flaw or something, but like that's just kind of how it is. Kind of how when you shoot a zombie's head clean off and they can still run at you and two swipe you if they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things like you figure out how to kind of work around it or like kind of how to avoid it if that makes sense. Because I mean it's gonna happen. It's just a point of you got to know when it's gonna happen and work accordingly. Um, other than that, there's not really anything that can like deadlock Easter eggs. I'm pretty sure, or like soft lock them, where it's like if you do this step wrong or something like that, like you just restart game because you were having trouble with the Steadicam defenses. Not that I like believe in this, but I mean like there is definitely multiple avenues of like you have your fate and fortune cards that you can use. You can build a trap or whatever. But having that like one rewind grenade in the map, I think it makes it more useful, if that makes sense. And it's like since it's not the only way you can do a step, I feel like it's okay to have the ability to not have it widely available throughout the map.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. But
what's up?
I was gonna say just other things bad. I mean, Beast from Beyond was definitely rushed and
Yeah.
um not as catered to as the other maps. Um the one thing I felt like could have been a little bit more improved would be like the Space Lane Easter egg's fine. It's like, it's an opener map. Um but the other like Rave, I feel like the Easter egg should have been a little more tedious to say the least. Um yeah.
It's hard to find that good in between of like
Mm-hmm.
of of
Well,
like not tedious but like not also like extremely difficult. You know what I mean?
exactly.
It's
Like,
hard to
and
find that.
that's what I know we were talking about bad stuff, but like another thing I really liked about these Easter eggs when you get to Shaolin onward is like you're having to do a decent amount of steps, but they also like make sense to the map and then what the map is catered to. But it's also like it's not just fucking filling up soul boxes or going through rounds. It's like specifically looking for one zombie, killing a zombie with a certain thing, and then going around changing a bunch of dials. Like it really capitalizes on those like little steps, like the origin switches for the lightning staff. It's just a bunch of stuff kind of like that, but it's curated and catered to the map where it's perfect. Um, my opinion.
Well, that's one thing that like I think Easter eggs need to do, like in any game, like in general, is I believe that Easter eggs should be a challenge, but they should also just take you on a journey. Like they should be
Mm-hmm.
not like holding your hand, but like guiding you through an experience of the map to tell a well written story. It's just like a better campaign, in my opinion. That's why I love older campaigns than when you followed somebody and you were the main character and you went through this journey and you did all these things to lead up to this grand event. I know we're talking about IW, but like one thing I can think of that's a great example of that, I feel like, is Dreisendrach. You know what I mean? I feel like that map did an Easter egg very well when it comes to walking you and telling a good, well written story that not many Easter eggs do, in my opinion. I think Shadows does that semi decently well, because I feel like when you have certain steps and Easter eggs that don't really make sense, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's some things that are just unexplained that just don't make sense, but it's just, it's part of the Easter egg step. But like for Derizen, you spawn in, your characters are interacting with Dr. Groff, and you build the bows, and then you go back in time, you grab all these parts so you can shoot down the rocket, and then you find the golden rod, and you're like, okay, well, we need an apothecon, and then it's just a very well written story and a very well written Easter egg. And I think, like, when it comes to Easter eggs, that's very, very important. Now I can't say too much because I don't know much about IW. I know Zombies in Spaceland really, and a little bit of Rave, and Spaceland was cool. I liked the idea of building this SETICOM, giving David Hasselhoff, doing all these things, and building the wonder weapons, even though it's not really technically required, if I'm correct.
For what?
The wonder weapons aren't really required for Zombies in Spaceland. Well, they are, but they're not like you don't need to get all of them. You really just need, you need A1 to help you in the boss fight.
Correct. Yeah.
Because that's the only thing that can really damage the alien.
Correct.
Okay. I now back to the worst thing, the whole worst topic, or the the thing that really dragged it down that could have improved upon. I agree with you on that with the whole hitbox thing. My thing is, though, like, sometimes I feel like there are too many spawns. It call me at least in Spaceland, from what I've experienced, I feel like there's too many spawns in like a certain area. Spawn room's fine. There's like there's like 4 windows. But I feel like after that, I feel like there's just so many areas in some places. Maybe it's just that center area that I feel like there's just so many places they can spawn that it's just like you said, like the whole bridge thing, or like, they have like that square hitbox and they can block you if you're trying to run, that really just doesn't really help. As well as, one thing I've noticed a lot was, like, if you leave a zombie behind, I don't know when that motherfucker's going to spawn back in. I feel like it takes forever for him to spawn back in. But then again, I don't know. That's one thing that I think I wish they could have fixed on. Now, they might have in other maps. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't really played all the maps like that. That's what you're here for.
It's super odd. Like, how I think they do it is, if you're like in a certain area, they can spawn in a certain area. So how many spawns there are, like, the areas are a lot smaller than you think. So when you're like, if I run from Kepler to Journey into Space, or like the arcade, you're passing through like 4 or 5 areas. So the zombie either gets a full animation of respawning in an area and now it's walking. Because I will say runners start at like 5 or 6.
Yeah, like joggers. You start to pick up the pace a little bit, from what I've noticed. Okay. All right. Well, let's get off the negative thing, because negatives aren't always a good thing. Because again, I don't feel like there's a lot of negative. I don't think there's many. I think when it comes to a good zombies experience, all I think you need is good map layout, good aesthetics, good Easter egg, good story, good characters. I mean that's, and good gameplay, obviously, but that comes with the game itself. Okay, I have I got 2 questions that kind of tie in together. And I'll ask you this. I guess I'll ask you. Let me see. Okay, I'll ask you this first. In terms of a good zombies map, I would consider Zombies in Spaceland a good zombies map, right? How many? Because there's like what? There's 1, 2. There's like 5 maps in this game, right?
Correct.
Out of those 5 maps, how many of those would you be considered a good map? Like, obviously, Beast and Beyond is not a good map. How many of maps
4.
could you you would say all 4 are good maps?
Yep.
Like, all up to par with Spaceland type shit.
Maybe not up to par with Spaceland.
That's what I'm kind of like looking for. Is like them, like a map that's close to Spaceland, that's good like Space. Because like Spaceland is in most people's top 5. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to find a map that's like, I'm trying to see if there's any other maps that are close to that.
Spaceland is okay. Spaceland is so good because of what it is, and I'll dive a little bit deeper into that. Spaceland is such a good map because of it's an opener map. Since it's an opener map, the Easter egg isn't super entailed, but there's still so much that you can do in it. I feel like that's what makes Spaceland so good. Also introducing all the new mechanics, the boss fight, everything like that. Um, Rave, like having the hype from Spaceland, getting Rave, I feel like Rave's atmosphere is cooler and better than Spaceland's. Uh, just because like it fits more, if that makes sense. Like it really feels like you're in the fucking woods, and like you're kind of just in like a theme park for Spaceland. Um, but then you start getting into like Shaolin, which started like how I really enjoy doing Easter eggs of having those multiple steps and yada yada yada, and then it builds on that from Attack of the Radioactive Thing. They all kind of like they all are super good at what they did. If you wanna, I would honestly put, like, if I had to rank them, I'd probably drop Rave below Shaolin and Attack. But so I guess that, like, if you want like an honest answer, I would say 3 maps are good maps, and I'd put them up there with Spaceland. Because I would drop Rave, but I mean I could throw Rave right up there too, because it's a very nice, relaxed map. I just feel like it kind of didn't live up to the hype. It was very Easter egg wise, it was very bleh, and I feel like the quest to get the bows and stuff like that not very entailed too. Like they could have added more time to do that, like they did with the weapons in Spaceland, where it's like, I'm not always asking for like, oh, do 3 things and then you get this, but in Rave, you find all statues, get the bow, bring all the statues to one place, charge them up by not getting kills, just damaging zombies enough, and then you bring that statue to its big statue, get kills, and then you have your bow. That's it. So, but Shaolin, you could shit on Shaolin because it doesn't really have like a wonder weapon per se, but you do get the kung fu, which I thought was pretty sick. Like Infinite Warfare did a great job of giving us what we were used to, but also molding it into something new where it was like, oh, this is actually kind of cool. You know what I mean? Where we didn't really get full like elemental wonder weapons in Spaceland, but we got 4 different weapons, and you don't have to build all of them. You can choose which one you want to build and still be okay without having to build them all and putting them all in certain robots and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, then I'll lead into this because, I mean, this is. I mean, I could be wrong. This is just what obviously I hear, or at least what you see commonly. I mean, the majority, like a majority of zombie lovers, or people who play the mode, love BO3. A lot of people's top 5 are universally the same, right? And I feel like when people think of IW, the first thing they always think of is probably either the super Easter egg, I think, or Zombies in Spaceland. With that being said, I feel like I don't want to say it like in a negative way, but I feel like people only really see this game, not from your standpoint, but like from other people's standpoints. Like I could be wrong. I feel like a majority of people don't see that many maps being good. I would say people, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like most people see 2 maps being good in that game. And I say good like I'm talking like really good. You know what I mean? And from from that standpoint, what's up?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people just say Spaceland.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So okay. I wanted to try and give at least like, I feel like Rave deserves a lot of love.
No,
I liked it. I think it was pretty cool.
I mean, it's cool, but it's missing like a bunch of stuff, especially for being a DLC 1 map, where it's like you got all this momentum, you can build on it. You could have made, like I said, harder challenges for the bows. You could have made the Easter egg longer, just or more entailed doing stuff. You know what I mean? But it's very cut and dry. If in director's cut, you can be at the boss fight on round 1.
Okay. All right.
That's how easy and quick it is.
Okay, then what my question to you then is, if a majority of people see this game only having really one good map being Spaceland, could you accurately say that this game is underrated?
Oh,
Or is
100%.
okay.
But I feel like um so I feel like IW just in general, not just the zombies, but IW in general got so much hate
Mhm.
because number one, community didn't want futuristic anymore. But also number two, coming off universally a lot of people's favorite COD of all time, or just an S tier COD, and then the community not getting what they wanted. So I will say, like when IW was out and about, of course the YouTubers and the streamers are going to cover it because it's the new shit. But it did not get a lot of like traction and stuff, and people didn't look like they were having fun really playing it because they just got off of a hell of a ride with the fucking 4 maps in Zombie Chronicles that we got that were absolute just bangers, every single one of them. And then being so addicted to the Aether story or the Ether story, whatever the fuck. And then we get something, I don't want to say that nobody wanted, but something that we didn't expect that we would get. Because I feel like a lot of people think zombies, you think of the OG crew and shit like that. But they did a real good job of like having this be a standalone zombies experience, in my opinion,
Mhm.
which I feel like now that we've actually gotten some bad games, people have recently over the last couple years went back to IW and realized, oh my God, this game is actually super, super cool. And it's like different with every single map. And, stuff is entitled to the map and it's very like every time I hop in a different map, not that I feel like I'm playing a different game, but it's like I'm in a different atmosphere. It feels so well put together, this game. And I feel like it's underrated because it didn't really get a chance. So I feel like the people who know, and the people who don't kind of just hop on a train of like, oh well, it's not that good, but they don't have a lot of playtime in it, or just something of that nature. I would say it's a underrated COD, period. But zombies, especially, like it's my opinion. If it ain't above BO3, then it's tied with BO3 or right below it.
Okay.
And BO3 is my number. I would say BO3 is my number one. But I've been playing the fuck out of some IW.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, we both have. We both have. Okay. To kind of backtrack a little bit on what you said about the whole like IW thing, like the amount of hate that it got, because I did think it got too much hate. I don't, in my opinion, there's only really like a handful of like 2 or 3 of really bad Call of Duties that deserve hate. I don't think IW is one of them, and I get it. At the point in time, the community was kind of over jetpacks and they were over futuristic, but IW was developing that game when people were loving the hell out of fucking BO3, and at the time futuristic was I don't even want to say trend, but it was like the move. That's what everybody
Yeah.
was doing. That's what Advanced Warfare did. Sledgehammer, Treyarch. So obviously they're going to do that. So I think the game one got too much hate, and I think that hate bled into zombies as well, because like you said, I don't think anybody expected us to have zombies. We had it in, I mean, we had 2 years of straight zombies. We had Advanced Warfare, that fucking hit the shit. That just hit the fan. That was terrible. And then we had BO3, which was a huge success. And you could maybe you could say BO3 was a huge success because Advanced Warfare was, maybe a little bit of that could be credited to Advanced Warfare being terrible. But like I think IW just came out at the wrong time sometimes. I feel like if it came out before BO3 or like a few years later, especially the zombies experience, God, I feel like it gets so much more love that it deserves, because it deserves a lot of love, because Lee Ross and the developers put a lot of love and a lot of care into this mode that I hate that we will never probably get a part 2, a second.
Yeah.
And
And it
it's
makes me so angry
Mhm.
because at the end, I forget if it's the Beast from Beyond or the Mephistopheles boss fight, but at the end, like it's a perfect to be continued,
It is,
and I'm
and
never gonna know.
it's just like the Ghost campaign ending. It's just one of those things that just I hate that gets just left on the shelf to never be picked up again. It's just gonna collect dust. But I do think a lot of that, again, a lot of that for the zombies experience and side of things is because of where it was at the point in time in the time period. I really wish that it could have not gotten that hate. You know what I mean? And like you said, people came back. And honestly, Zombie Chronicles really fucked that over. You know, don't get me wrong, I love Zombie Chronicles, but it really fucked over IW because that came out like a long time after the cycle of BO3. It came out in 2017, if I'm
Mm-hmm.
correct, during, you know,
Came
granted,
out
I
around springtime.
yeah, it was a gut punch, you know. It was a dick move, you know,
Well,
almost. But
but
then again,
I don't think it was a okay. So I don't
I
think it was a
yeah.
studio v studio thing. I think it was because IW was getting so much hate and it wasn't getting as much support as BO3 was, and they probably saw that people were still going back and playing BO3, that they were just like, well, fuck it. Let's, we had this fucking idea cooking. Let's go ahead and throw these guys a bone so they don't hate fucking Activision. They just are like, oh, fuck, fuck Infinity Ward coming out with this game. But
Mhm.
it's, yeah, I mean, I I feel like it got off to kind of a rough start. A lot of people, it was different enough where it lost some of the fan base. IW was like, I don't know if Drew's gonna like it
I think Drew
because of
will like it.
how goofy it is. But at the same time, since it's so relaxed and it's not very like, you know, oh, you have to get 6 crawlers and you have to get them to crawl through here using a Gersh device. Like it ain't shit like that. Um,
Well,
we'll see.
Drew likes Goofy. If you haven't noticed, he loves Goofy. That's one thing That's one reason why he loves like Water War and Black Ops One is because I mean mainly it's the characters, it's the crew that carried that game, and they were so goofy and lovable that I think Drew would actually really like this experience a lot. We got to get him to play it 100. We what we got to do is got to get him to come over to the apartment, and then we just play IW. You know what I mean? Split screen or whatever. Um, but yeah, no, I think that it didn't deserve it, and I feel like if it came out today, it would be like beloved way more than what it is. You know what I mean? I think people would rave over this shit. No pun
Mm-hmm.
intended. Um, but okay, all right. So far, so good.
Oh,
What's
I
up?
was gonna say also, I don't know if you knew this. I kind of heard this. I don't know if it's accurate. If anybody knows in the comments, they can correct me or confirm it. So apparently, IW was around the time that they got bought out or they bought out Guitar Hero, Activision did or something. And
Mm-hmm.
so the music playlists are so good because they drag some people who made Guitar Hero over to the IW music team.
I can see that.
And I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, I feel like it's one of those CODs that kind of slipped through the cracks of, I mean, but also around that time was when Fortnite started popping off too, or
Fortnite,
started to kind of
yeah,
get big too. So
yeah.
I feel like it was just kind of, IW was shoved between a rock and a hard place of, BO3 and then kind of a newer age of gaming. And also, I feel like IW was when the community really started to, some of the community, should I say, started to get really sick and tired of COD and Activision and what they were doing. So those people who, I don't want to call them sheep, but like the sheep, the people who are gonna play COD, but if nobody wants futuristic, they're gonna be like, "Oh, give us boots on the ground." As soon as IW came out, those people were already kind of gone, not really playing it. So I I don't know, man. I feel like it got too much hate for no reason, just kind of out of its own doing, if that makes sense. I feel like the game as a whole, multiplayer campaign, I haven't played campaign, but from what you say about it, it's not a bad COD, especially from what we've gotten. And then I mean, even if you want to try and compare it to some older CODs before then, I mean, like I feel like I could definitely put some CODs below IW that were made before it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So
In terms of a zombies experience, yeah.
yeah, 100%.
And especially campaign. I think the only real issue I had with IW was just variance and the fact that the gameplay felt a little slower. They tried to copy BO3, which they did, but it was a lot slower. But
Yeah.
I think the game was just good. Again, it's just the community. Like we shoot ourselves in the foot all the time, and I hate it. You know, I mean, people, you know, they never know what they want. I feel like, especially zombies. I feel like we don't know what we want sometimes. You know, like I just real quick, you know, we see all these things happening with BO7 where people were complaining about skins carrying over, and then they say, okay, well, no skins will carry over, and then people are complaining that they're not going to get their skins. And then they complain about zombies, you know, they're not getting their skins since, you know, those characters are technically coming back into the game because of zombies, you know what I mean? And then they come out and say, like, okay, well, you guys can have your Easter egg reward skins in the new game. And then people are still finding ways to complain, you know, like when they're actually listening to the community, we're going too far. All right. If you're watching this and you're one of those people, you're going too far. All right. When they're actually giving a little leeway and they're listening to us, we need to take what we can get and just take the dub, because it's a big dub with what they're doing with Black Ops 7 so far.
So I was gonna say with my thing, I'm glad they're listening and everything. So my thing about kind of that, I'll brush over that situation. To me, if I'm getting a new COD, I want everybody to be fresh. You know, if it was my opinion, if you're gonna change it and do all this shit, like I understand that BO7 is gonna be not leaps and bounds different from BO6, but it'll be different than BO6. It'll play maybe a little bit differently. But at this point, if you want all this cross progression shit and or cross game shit, what just give us a DLC at that point. Like I don't know what to really say, or just keep adding on to one game. It seems like that's what some people want. When I don't, like when I get a new COD, like that's what I feel like made COD. It was like, all right, you're gonna get a new one every single year. Number one, who's gonna be the first person to like prestige? Who's gonna be the first person to master prestige? Who's gonna be the first person to solve the Easter egg? Like shit like that. Not saying it always has to be a race, but I feel like if you do the playing BO6 can level you up in BO7, like no, it's BO7. This is BO7. Anything you do and you earn in this game will specifically be for BO7. If like I think a perfect idea is if you like do I think you should be able to use like zombie skins and stuff like that in multiplayer? I don't know. I like the idea of multiplayer skins or multiplayer, zombie skins or zombie skins. Everything can be combined into Warzone. So you could be whatever the fuck you want to be. If COD wants to keep coming out with that fucking pink teddy bear shit, put it in Warzone. Make that the sandbox. But have your standalone campaign, multiplayer, zombies, and have kind of each one be their own thing. Because at this point, it feels like we're like COD has a community, but we also have our own communities within multiplayer and zombies. So, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it is a subject that we could talk about for hours. You know, it's a very important one at hand. You know, in my eyes, sometimes I believe that we need a break from COD. I feel like sometimes what doesn't help with the whole leveling thing and stuff like that is the fact that they're back to back. You know, but then again, when every COD game felt unique and different in its own way, it felt fun to restart. When I feel like the game has been the same for like the last 5 years. Since I would say the game has not felt any different since Modern Warfare 2019. Granted, yes, like movement changes and stuff like that, but I feel like as a whole, looking at the game, I feel like it just looks the same. When you can look at MW2, Black Ops 1, MW3, Black Ops 2, Ghost, all those games look completely different and they feel completely different and they work completely different. I feel like we're not doing that anymore, and I feel like, that's the biggest thing is we need to separate the games, and we don't need to have games back to back, but maybe have one game run on a 2-year cycle. You know what I mean? But then again, that's not going to line up with their pockets. So that's my opinion. They're not going to line up with their pockets. In other words, I think we need to be grateful with Black Ops 7 what it's becoming. I think it's going to be a good game. I'm always willing to give a COD a chance, and if it turns out like a Vanguard COD, then it'd be a game I just don't play anymore. You know what I mean? I'm not the one blowing money on skins and stuff that I can't see. So yeah. Well, with that being said, I want to talk about 2 more things, and that last thing we talked about, we'll kind of close out the episode for today, because obviously I think we'll definitely come back. Maybe we'll do like a post super Easter egg if we ever get there. Hopefully, I know you probably get there, but you gotta drag my ass through there. I want to talk about Willard Wyler, because granted, if I'm correct, he wasn't the main antagonist, obviously, but he was at the time until the super Easter egg. He was the big bad, right? How'd you what'd you think of him? Like putting him up there, because obviously, like, no Zombies experience has had one single big bad, in my opinion. It's always been kind of like 2. You had Sam and Richtofen and Maxis, you know what I mean? And then you kind of had the Shadow Man, but secretly Dr. Monty was also kind of bad, you know what I mean? Like, what do you think of Willard Wyler? Do you think he was a good antagonist?
I think he was. I think they did a good job of brush over something real quick. I think they did a good job with the characters, where they didn't personalize them too much, but each of them kind of had like their own little thing. You know what I mean? You could separate each of them from each other. All of them were kind of there for a purpose and shit like that. They molded real well together. But with Willard, at first you think he's just this like deranged director kind of thing, and then you start to learn like some of his films were failing, so then that's why he made a deal with the devil, and then he sacrificed his wife and all his daughter and all sorts of stuff like that. So I think they did a really good job with him, where I think the plot was good with how they addressed him as well. But then there's that big gap at the end, so you have that. But I think they did a good job. I think they did a real good job.
Okay. Well, on the topic, because I kind of want this episode to last a little bit longer. Where do where do the cast of crew, I don't know what, I guess we could just call them the IW crew. Where would you put them compared to the rest of the crews that we've had in every other Zombies experience? It's a good one, though.
It is a good one.
I feel like they don't get talked about enough. I really do.
Correct.
I don't think they get. I think the only person that might get a lot of limelight is Poindexter. I feel like.
Yeah.
I think he's the only real one. I mean, you could say the other ones are kind of forgettable, maybe, but like where do they line up with the other ones, with like the Victus crew, the Ultimus crew, the Primus crew, and all that? In your personal opinion. Yeah, okay. Yeah, personal opinion.
I mean, I don't know, because like I think they're a good crew, but they're not like anything crazy. They're not like anywhere close to a best crew we've seen. But they do the real good job of, like, since it's in the, it's a deranged producer and he's having to put these guys into movies, they pick like 4 people who hit 4 different clicks at pretty much every single movie, which fits it really well. And their characters fit the characters in the movie very well. So I would say they're just super if I had to rank them, man, that's tough. Because I don't.
Like, who could you compare them to? Because we've got a lot of crews. I think people forget. We have a lot of crews. I mean, you got to think about Black Ops 1, because obviously World of War had technically 2. Technically, we had the Marines, and then we had, um the Ultimus crew, and then Black Ops 1 we had the 5 crew. We had again the Ultimus crew comes back, and then we had the Call of the Dead. And then in BO2 we had Victus, we had the Mob crew, then we had the Premise crew, and then in Black Ops 3 we had Shadows of Evil, and then obviously with BO4 we had the Chaos crew, the Premise and Ultimus crew, like we've gotten a lot of people, like a lot of different casts of celebrities or just characters in general. Like who could you compare them to? Because like you said, I do agree that I feel like they are, I hate to say average, but they're average. I feel like they're very basic. They fit the game, well, the story and where it should be. Like you said, like each one plays their specific trope to that specific genre or that specific time era. You know what I mean?
If I had to, I guess, like personally, if I had to compare them to somebody, I feel like the quotes are very funny and they're very good and niche to the maps and stuff like that. If I had to compare them to a crew, I'd probably say like the Transit crew, because I feel when I think of Transit crew, I think they're very goofy. It's just like, I don't want to say it's like 4 random people, but it's pretty much like 4 random people that usually wouldn't be friends in real life or whatever, kind of combined together in their different ways of life. It's kind of like the same thing. So I would say like Transit crew, compare them to.
Okay. That's where I was kind of leaning at was Transit crew, because like you said, it's 4 souls that probably would never hang out with each other out in real life, but they're stuck in this predicament, you know what I mean, where they're kind of forced to, and they're forced to go on this journey. And you can say that about all the crews if you wanted to, well, a majority of them. But yeah, no, I could see that. I could see where they kind of line up with like the Victus crew, goofy in its own way. 4 unfortunate souls that just got dealt a shitty hand because all you want to do is just star in a movie. Okay, so you put them in there. I could see that. I don't think anybody would disagree with you on that. I don't. Okay. Well, to kind of close this off, because like I hope this is a little bit of a longer talk with this last one. I think it's gonna scratch your brain a little bit, make you think. Obviously, we know that we're not going to get an IW2 Zombies, right? We're not going to get a continuation of the story unless Lee Ross just comes out of left field, at halftime and just saves, this story, you know what I mean? Or brings it back to life. But hypothetically, let's say he does. Let's say Lee Ross comes back and, he's set to be the head director of the new Zombies experience in the next Modern Warfare game, the next Infinity War game or whatever it might be. And he flat out said he had plans to continue this story, where it left off. What would you want from that? Like in detail, like I want to know everything that you would want from that. Like any type of changes from the other experience, what to keep in, maybe if you have a kind of a quick idea of what you'd want to see the story like, stuff like that. Maybe reoccurring stuff, like maybe bring back celebrity casting again in each map. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would say definitely. I mean, it depends. I don't know what I would want. I mean, I would want an ending. How we would get there, I'm not entirely sure, but I would definitely like to see celebrity cast. That'd be a big, up. I would like them to keep the movie, TV show kind of ploy kind of going on, because I feel like, I mean, you got endless possibilities with that. You could make, I feel like what I would like to see, keep the movie aspect. I feel like what would really thrive, especially if they can keep the atmosphere and stuff like that. I feel like what would really thrive with an IW map would be like a scary map, like a haunted map, like a big mansion or something. Like not Dead of the Night per se, but like something of that nature. You know what I mean, with the IW take on it, and then or this is probably an awful idea, but now that we're in the day of collabs and stuff like that, like, venture, like I said, into TV shows and then do something like we get celebrity cast, but it's like maybe not so much IW story, or it's like a map like Shadows of Evil where we get like a Scooby-Doo map per se.
Mhm.
Okay, and then we play as Fred and Velma and Shaggy and Scooby or whatever. But that has something to do with like the main story.
Mhm.
Like you do something to kind of affect the main story to like line up universes or some shit like that. You know what I mean? Because as of right now, they fucking leaned on the multiverse theory as well. So, um, I would like to see like a scary map, definitely more celebrities and shit like that. Um, and then uh, if you're gonna, it depends. Like I would want them to keep the same direction of like Willard and stuff like that. I feel like you should be able to deep dive a little bit more into the lore and stuff like that of um, maybe each character or Willard himself, or maybe other people that have made a deal with Mephistopheles. They get put together, kind of thing. So
Okay, so like I was thinking like a modern take of movies. I think would be pretty cool.
yeah, like
Um,
I was about to say, it could be like that. Like I would kill for Sydney Sweeney to be in
like
there.
it'd be cool like a new war detective
Yep.
movie, or you
Yep.
go more modern and say like a let's see what's been coming. Maybe like a fucking cheesy ass superhero movie where you can like where you're superheroes on a set. You know what I mean, or something like that'd be pretty cool. So obviously sticking with the movie theme, I think is important because
Mm-hmm.
it allows so much more creative freedom to you have that not excuse, but you have that thing to say, well, you know, we can do anything we want. You know, this is a movie themed experience. You know what I mean? Like we're jumping through different time periods and you know stuff like that. And like you said, you could bring in more cast members, maybe more modern ones that people might remember or might know of today. You know, I think that'd be pretty cool. I definitely would want to see a part two.
Mm-hmm.
Um, um, what's something that you'd want to see like changed though? Like something that you could they if you could talk to Lee Ross, like I said with that scenario I just talked about where he was going to come back and he was going to, you know, continue the story. If you could like talk to him and suggest one thing to change, what would it be?
Mm.
Like, hey, you know, you don't know me, but you got to do this and it'll like greatly help.
Um.
So just
Man.
scratching your brain.
I. Mm.
And
Besides just like game mechanics,
you
like
can go with that.
itself,
You can go with that. You can do anything. Game mechanics, story, aesthetic, characters, you know.
I would just have to say tighten up around the rough edges of game mechanics. You know, maybe change the way the zombies work. Um, I don't know. There isn't much I would change if I got like a same exact IW, just better graphics tomorrow. I'd pay fucking $70 for it.
Okay. Okay. So there's not really much you would want to there's not much you would change besides like the
Nah, I
gameplay.
was gonna say yeah, but you know that or just tell them put some thought into those Easter eggs, guy. Because the one thing I forgot to mention, what I really liked about um, these Easter eggs. Some people will say they're tedious and stuff, yes, but I like the mystery of the hunting for them and also like figuring out like what you're actually supposed to do. Like I'm pretty sure the guy who did the attack of the radioactive thing for the first time like guessed on the bomb making step. But now it was a pain in the ass to fucking try and figure the whole thing out. But now we have like a website where it's easy peasy, where you can just put it. And some people say, "Oh, you shouldn't have to do that," but I think it makes it fun, makes it more like in tune of like what you need to do, and kind of go on from there. Because I really like those Easter eggs of like, "Oh fuck, I got to solve a cipher," and then you know people aren't still finding words to this day, but there's so many words that it could be for this cipher, like in Shall and Shuffle. So, um, I kind of like, steps like that where, one of you guys holding a zombie and yeah, you gotta do some shit.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. That's really all that I have for today. For this little
Okay.
bonus episode, round 12. Um, any closing thoughts before we close it out for the day?
Um, no, I just am gonna dream about IW2.
Would you suggest to the viewers out there to possibly go and try out these Easter eggs and these maps if they've never played it before?
100%. I feel like if you have the accessibility to, definitely go ahead and give all the maps a try. And if you do like it, if you enjoy it, go for director's cut and maybe go for that boss fight, or super boss fight, super Easter egg boss fight. But if you're not into it and maybe you just can see like, oh, let me see what this Mephistopheles boss fight is about, you can do that too. So, but I would definitely recommend this game. Like if I talk about zombies to somebody who's never played zombies, I'm gonna give them probably BO3, IW, and BO2 and say, start here, brother. Go.
All right. You guys heard them, folks. If you haven't played the game, go play it. Go play the game. It's a good map. Well, they have good maps. It's a good experience. It's unique. It's different, but at the same time, it holds those same core mechanics. I would say that is important to zombies. So yeah. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoy. This is all that we really have for today. Hopefully, we can come back again later on in a few weeks or a month or so and come back with a part 2, talking more about IW or maybe diving into the other zombies experiences. We're definitely going to have to go and play those again to kind of like refresh our memory. So if you guys like this video, please leave a like, comment down below anything you want to talk about with IW. Maybe leave a question for us in the future that we will answer. Let us know what you think of IW. Was it a good game? Was it underrated? Was it overrated? I don't think overrated's in the question, though. I think it's really underrated. I don't think anybody can say it's overrated. But you guys know what I mean. Maybe comment down below your favorite map from IW and follow along with the topics we talked about today. Like I said, like the video if you enjoyed it. Comment down below what you guys thought and subscribe for more zombies content with me and Dalton and Drew. He wasn't here today because he's never played IW, so this is really more for Dalton and myself a little bit. So yeah. So Dalton, you want to say bye?
Bye.
That's all I needed to hear. All right, people. We'll see you for round 13.